Good afternoon. I'm your host, Don Burgess, and welcome to another Bermuda's News and Views here with a great sunny day in Bermuda in the winter or end of the fall sort of season. And our guests today are going to be talking about Carifta 2020, and the buzz is already starting to build for the event. But we have D'Amico Watson. Welcome.
Hello.
Donna Rayner.
Welcome.
And Mia Bean.
Hello.
Donna, well, just to go a little bit off track about Carifta, you were just in Monaco for the World Athletic Awards. What was that like?
It was very interesting. I was also there for my IAF Foundation meeting, which I ended up a little late to the meeting because of the time change. So basically the foundation, we look at allocation of funds for projects around the world. So I had that, and then we had the awards on the Saturday night. We had a few other sessions throughout. One of them that was very, very interesting was the Athlete Forum. So you can imagine that was a full room because they were talking about all of the events that have been taken out of the Diamond League. So that was a very, very interesting meeting. The World Athletics used to be IAAF, is now World Athletics. They're putting on another event, which is the Continental Tour. So athletes that cannot get into Diamond League, they will now have Continental Tour. They've also changed the way that athletes qualify for the Olympics. It's now a world ranking system. So that was a big major change, and they started to discuss that when we were in Doha.
How will that affect Bermuda?
Well, it will affect all the athletes, not just Bermuda. Basically, what the athletes now have to do, they have to be very strategic in deciding which events they're going to compete in. Some events you get higher points, some events you get lower points. So I had a discussion with Tyrone yesterday. So he has to be very strategic of which events he goes to. The interesting thing is that they've given a lot of points to national championships. So that bodes well for us because now these athletes are going to have to come to Bermuda and compete in our national championships because that's one of the highest amounts of points that the athletes will get throughout the year. So now we've got to work on making sure that we have athletes here for them to compete with. The Athletics Awards was great. This is the third year for me being there because the foundation meeting is always held the same time as the same week as the Athletics Awards. So it's interesting, seeing the athletes in person, meeting the athletes in person. One thing that they did this year that was really fantastic is that they had a night of milers. So you had milers that went back to the 1960s that were in attendance. You had people like Abdi Beely, you had Morsley, you had Algarouche, you had Steve Cram, you had several athletes that broke records in the mile in one room, and it was just a fantastic event. They have footage going all the way back to 1920. Mm-hmm. So that event, I enjoyed that event the most out of any event. The weather was not good.
Yeah, I saw you posting about how much rain it was.
It rained every single day, but I think for me it was good because it gave me time to kind of rest and relax versus running here, there, and everywhere. But the event itself is first class. I mean, they hold it in a first class auditorium. Everybody is dressed in their formal wear. So it's always a very, very great event.
With the Olympics next year and all the changes coming up, it seems like a big movement from making a qualifying standard, whether A or B, to accruing points. Did you know that was coming, or had that been discussed?
As I said, they started discussions about the change in the ranking system. They started it earlier this year, and Mia was with me at Doha. We had a session that we went to where they really discussed how the point system is going to work. It's interesting you saying that because that was one of the questions that I asked. Why would we try to make all these major changes the year of the Olympics? But basically, it's kind of a pilot, and as I said, next year they may go back to putting some events in, taking some events out and so on and so forth. So it's kind of a test year. But as I said to them, it's interesting because the athletes are already pressured enough trying to reach the standards, and now you've changed it altogether, so that's going to put even more pressure on them. Okay, now what do I have to do, to get the points that I need to, because for every event they only have a certain amount of athletes.
Right.
So you've got to be in that top ranked to be able to attend, but they also give each country a quota, which we've had for a while. We have one athlete, we can send one athlete to the Olympics, whether they're in the ranking system or not, but we still have to submit that name.
One male and female, or just one?
No, it used to be one male, one female. It's now just one athlete, be it male or female. That was another discussion because everybody felt they should go back to the one male, one female. So that was another discussion that we had in the athletes forum. But yeah, I thought it was very interesting. We've made several changes this year. I don't know if you saw the World Championships, even the filming of the event was different. They really upped the media and the graphics and so on and so forth. And I was talking to one of the gentlemen that were there, and he said, we had a meeting, a post mortem afterwards, and we said, maybe we try to do too many changes at one time. So I understand what they're trying to do. As I said, they've changed the logo, they've changed the name. It's now World Athletics. So they're really trying to get athletics, in the forefront of sports. Right. So that's kind of, what they're trying to do. They're trying to attract more spectators and so on and so forth. So I think, all of these changes is supposed to move towards making athletics much more exciting. The other thing is what they're trying to do also, because they realize to get spectators, they've got to have the best runners competing against each other. Because if you remember, Usain Bolt hardly showed up and competed against Justin Gatlin, and then you only saw him at the Olympics. So what they're trying to force the athletes to do is to compete in these meets together so that the spectators can have a great experience.
But that sounds wonderful at that end, but like for smaller countries like us, where it seems like we're chasing points rather than a set standard, which could be more expensive.
Not really.
No.
I mean, one of the good things that they did think about is the athletes that are in university, they will also get points in university meets, in NCAAs and so on and so forth. So that is all part of it. So if you think about it, we have several of our athletes that possibly can make Tokyo that are in university. So, and in meets in the US, so they will get points. But, for Tyrone, he's already on the circuit. So he just needs to work out, what events. Also, they also have events other than in Europe that you can also get points. So it's very, very vast how you get points. So it's, like I say, it's just a matter of the athletes sitting down strategically and working out which events should they go to. And like I say, some of the events in the US, some of the events, they have one of the events in Jamaica, which is one of the high point meets as well. So it's just them strategically sitting down and working out where do I need to go to get my money, to get the most points.
So I got distracted a little bit because that's a major change.
Yes, it is.
Well, but we're here to talk about Carifta. One of the things that seems different from 2012 and 2004, the last two times that we held it, and Bermuda's been host 5 times.
This will be our fifth
time. It seems like the buzz is building earlier for this. We go back to May when Carifta was part of the focus of the month and the parade and things. Is that my imagination, or is this a plan to build it towards next year?
It's not your imagination. We did start very early, but I have to say part of the reason is because of the marketing person that we have on board. Pretty much laid out a plan for Carifta from when we started in May all the way through to April. So, within that period, we decided that we were going to have, the pep rally. We've had, as you said, 24th of May, we had, entry in the parade. We also have runners wearing 24th of May shirts and so on and so forth. So all of this has been a plan of how we can get Carifta out. As you know, our Facebook page is very active. Our Instagram page is very active. Anything that happens, for example, with the medals, we had a reveal of the medals. So we've definitely upped our marketing. And that was because we wanted to get it out. We even have the tickets out. The tickets are out for sale September. So all of it has been part of our master plan.
And if people want to purchase tickets, where can they do that? And how much are they?
Okay. There are several levels that they can purchase. You can either go to our website, Carifta2020bda.com, or you can go directly to Bermuda Tix and purchase the tickets. So we have 3 levels, and Mia, jump in if I get it wrong. We have VIP, which is $100 for 3 days. Yeah. And then we have individual tickets. You could buy a ticket for a day. I can't remember what that price is. Right. And then we have gold, silver, and bronze. And I'm not 100% sure what the gold, silver, and bronze tickets are, but you can buy gold tickets, and those tickets are close to the finish line. Mm-hmm. And then you have silver, which kind of spreads out a bit, and then bronze is on the northern side of the track. So you can buy either 3-day passes, and I think gold is like $60. Silver might be like 50 something, and bronze might be 40, and that's for 3 days. And then you can buy individual tickets for 1 day. Then we have general admission, which is on the
uncovered.
Yep.
Right, the uncovered seat, and those are like $15.
So it's affordable for the average person.
Yes. We didn't want to make it not affordable. Our goal is to fill out the stadium. Mm-hmm. And so we decided to keep the tickets. They're pretty close to what they were in 2012. I think we opted just a little bit, not much. But our goal is to fill the stadium with locals, with foreigners, coming in. And, Bermudians need to be careful because
they can't wait till the last second.
No, they can't, because these foreigners, Bahamas, Jamaica, Trinidad, Barbados, Turks and Caicos, Aruba, Cayman Islands, they're buying their tickets now.
Yeah, the international supporters are moving
moving very fast, and they're used to it. So Bermudians don't want to wait till the last minute and be picking up a phone and calling myself or Mia and saying, "Oh, I need a ticket."
Stopping us on the street.
Yeah, I need a ticket. How can I get? I saw someone in
because we don't have tickets in our pocket.
We don't have tickets. I saw someone in the grocery store, and it was funny. They said, "I'm glad I saw you. I'm going online right now, purchasing my VIP ticket," because they called me last Carifta. I want a VIP ticket, and I said it's sold out. Mm-hmm. So they said, "I'm going today, since I see you, and getting my ticket." So no, I would tell Bermuda, do not wait for the last minute this time. And also, even while I was in Monaco, several of the council members on the World Athletics Board, they're looking at coming to Bermuda. Several people that I met and said, I've heard about this Carifta Games. It's, a fantastic event. It's one of the best youth events in the world. So they're interested in coming. So again, tell Bermudians, don't sit back and wait to the last minute, because they're going to be very disappointed.
Well, I know D'Amico was talking just before we went on air about the spark of interest already on the social media accounts from people from. So where have you seen most of that interest coming from?
Well, on Instagram, that's the big new avenue that a lot of young people are coming to, and it first started in Bermuda, and that's where the word kind of started spreading, especially from like May 24th and onward, and then. Currently, it started to come from Trinidad, Bahamas, Barbados, Jamaica. We have like a lot of young athletes that are close to qualifying for Carifta contacting us about how can they qualify, and we're telling them to go to their national governing bodies. But it's where it's a lot of young people from around the Caribbean that will be here for Carifta, spectators as well, all getting invested in this. So that's exciting from a marketing standpoint as well, because suddenly, your reach isn't just in Bermuda. It's all over the Caribbean, which is what Carifta is. Carifta is beyond just Bermuda. It's a bigger event. So.
Yeah, because this is like a huge event for the Caribbean.
Yes.
So and everyone gets excited about track and field.
Yep.
And especially like this year, and I don't know if this is like a total coincidence or brilliant marketing strategy on you guys' part, but 2004 to 2012, 2020 always seems to be an Olympic year.
It's strategic, Dawn. Every time we bid during the Olympic year, because the hype is there about athletics. People are trying to qualify for the Olympics. Even athletes that we have participating in Carifta, some of those athletes you'll see. As you know, we had Usain Bolt, who ended up competing in the Olympics. We have, last time we had Kashan Wolcott, who won the gold medal in the javelin and went on to win the gold medal at the Olympics that same year. So it's not coincidence. Every time when I be
So
at
brilliant
Carifta-
marketing strategy.
Thank you. Yeah, we have a rhyme and reason to why we do it.
Tying back into it's a discussion we started with at first. Are points being awarded for this? For
Yes,
Carifta?
they'll have any international event that you have in your country, there will be points awarded.
So then that adds another.
Exactly. And
Awesome.
why people really want to come. Exactly.
Now, we've talked about the interest building in the Caribbean, and I think, Mia, you're in charge of trying to find accommodations for everybody. What's that like?
It actually wasn't very difficult because we are dealing with Southampton Princess, who we dealt with in the past, and the team there is familiar with athletics. They're familiar with our needs, and so although on a far larger scale than we've used them in the past, because we've used them for the permit meet. So Carifta's a much larger scale, particularly with regard to the provisions of meals and transportation, logistics, and things like that. But they are working with us. They're familiar to some extent with it, and they're able to accommodate everyone. So the entire contingent of Carifta athletes from all over the Caribbean are able to stay at Southampton Princess. So we don't need to split any of the teams up.
So the Princess is going to be Southampton Princess is going to
Yeah,
be
that's the
Southampton
village.
Fairmont is going to be completely
The village.
going to
Yeah.
be booked. Thanks. And I when I traveled with the football team this summer, I got an interesting look of because they have to work with the athletes' meals and trying to provide things that are on plan rather than just whatever the hotel normally offers.
Right.
Are you having to deal with any of that as well?
Yes, they provided us a provisional menu. We will have a dietitian look at it before we confirm what the final menu is. But we also don't want to deviate too far from what the natural diet is. So, look at which countries are coming, what type of food they eat more consistently, and try to accommodate that as best we can.
There's just all the little things in the background that the average person, they're just going to go see the meet,
event.
Yeah.
the event, but all the things that are happening around it and trying to accommodate and make everyone, we're not trying to make it this home field advantage in the sense of giving them the wrong food and stuff. we just want our fans to come out and provide that.
Right.
So what else do you have to do? Or is your responsibility with Carifta 2020?
Well, right now the hotel is set, so that's fine. But then that will pick up again once we get when I start to have to do room and list. So I have to do room and list for 600 people. So I have to put 600 people in rooms according to the country. So my goal is to kind of keep the teams together for safety, to ensure that they in the same vicinity as their coaches, their officials for monitoring. We have to ensure that we have security on staff at the hotel to ensure nothing is damaged, because we don't want anything coming back after the fact. We want to ensure that the athletes are not only safe, but they're comfortable as well. I mean, Southampton Princess, who's not comfortable, right? But we want to ensure their safety, their comfort as well, and we want to ensure that they have a good experience.
Right. Well, plus, imagine all the athletes being at the same hotel offers another level of camaraderie and atmosphere for at least for them, because that's part of the thing for the athletes is seeing somebody you may not have seen before.
Yeah,
and
and historically at different Carifta, sometimes teams are at different hotels, and so you don't give the athletes an opportunity to engage one another outside of the stadium. So I think it's a good opportunity for them to all be in the same space and be able to interact with one another during meals and just when they're generally milling around the hotel. And so that, I think, is a good thing as well. And the Bermuda team will be there as well, so they get the opportunity to meet them too.
Yeah, because if they were just coming from their homes and things.
Yeah, no. It's mandatory.
Yeah, they have to stay there as
They don't
well.
have a choice.
Just to get them in a competition mind
Exactly.
frame and to be focused, so they can get away from family, just kind of focus on the competition at hand and what they need to do for the 3 days that they're competing.
Right. That's really first class planning, just to provide that for everybody that's coming.
Yeah, it's a lot.
Now, D'Amico, you're a graphic artist, and
Yep.
you designed the logo. How did you decide what the design was going to be like?
Well, it's a bigger picture, I guess, for me than the logo. For me, the logo was pretty much the stem for basically the entire marketing plan, which was to make this a Bermudian kind of image. And so the original logo, I designed it based on a gumbe, and fused that with a runner. And then from there, I kind of was like, you know, what can the big picture be? And it was this idea of Bermuda coming and moving together. And so with that came the slogan, "We Move Together." And then from there, kind of then came this idea of almost guerrilla marketing, which was going out into the public and seeing how can we spread this image without just using, you know, traditional images and pictures. And we came up with May 24th as a plan of all of us, you know, creating a float and then also having runners in the actual marathon. So that's an easy way to get marketing without actually doing marketing.
Right.
So that's one way. And then from there, it was going on to social media, and for me, designing videos and using basically my advertising skills at that point to then pump it into people's heads. And then come January, that's when I think we're gonna really, you know, go over the top with, you know, getting everyone excited about this even more than they already are. So it's all been a big picture that I'm excited to see coming together. I'll be even more excited for the actual games, because that's when you really see, you know, the athletes competing on the track, wearing the medals, on the podium stands, and all of this that you start off with a design and an idea in your head, and then seeing it come to fruition, especially in a public setting, is definitely a special feeling for.
Yeah, it's like the prelims for you.
Yeah, it is. That's exactly it. Yep.
Are you planning anything special for race weekend?
Race weekend. I would say that's not going to go, not so much as because we want that event to kind of have its day, and race weekend has a special place, especially for BNA. You have athletes that really focus on that. So at least we'll be around, we'll be marketing the event, so it'll be a part of it. But I would say race weekend will stand on its own as its own thing, especially, I mean, it's rebranded itself to the Triangle Challenge now. So we're going to let that kind of have its day, have its moment. That's been something that a lot of people's put a lot of hard work into. So that'll be that. But I mean, Carifta, definitely, we want it to be in everyone's mind. So it won't not be there, but definitely yes.
And you very graciously brought some medals, to show, because you helped with the design of that.
Yep.
So, do you want to take us through what you did and what that design is? What was your inspiration?
Yeah, no, I mean, the inspiration started off with the logo itself, and then the logo, the actual logo, the colors of it are pink, blue, and purple. The pink representing, of course, Bermuda's pink sand, the blue representing our ocean and waters, and the purple being specifically our own Carifta color, and kind of representing, you know, leadership, coming together, and this idea of moving together. So that's the three colors we chose for it. Putting that in the ring around the outside, very specific of like track and field, this idea that everyone's combining in different events. Inside of the medal, we have the triangles and the flat squares. I want that to kind of be reminiscent of Bermuda roofs. And then the graphic symbology of kind of Bermuda's ocean. And then on the back, which we don't have there, but it's the same pattern repeated. Okay. But then a lot of this also, I wanted to hark back to kind of Bermuda as well. So the bright colors, the vividness, and then in particular something like the gumbe, which is kind of like the symbol for Carifta this year, because I think that's something that Bermuda can claim solely for itself. So, yep.
Now, I know we have you three here, but there's a lot of people involved in making this happen. You know, at the stage, how many people are involved? And
On our committee, we probably have about
Maybe 16 people?
16 people. So basically in every area, for example, we have someone that's heading up transportation. We have someone that's heading up the timing and scheduling of the event. As we said, we have Mia heading up accommodations, uniforms, she's heading up that as well. D'Amico, of course, is heading up the marketing. We have someone in charge of accreditation. I'm pleased to say we have someone in charge of volunteers. We have over 200 people that have signed up as volunteers so far.
And you're still looking for some more, probably.
Not right now. We've closed it. We had the volunteers sign up on the website, and we've closed it.
That's outstanding.
It's outstanding. So we have our first meeting with our volunteers tonight, and I guess at that point in time we'll find out whether we have sufficient I think we know that we have more than enough. So, but we're going to use all 200 plus that have signed up. We'll make sure that they have an area that they can assist with. But like I said, that was exciting because all we did was put it up on the website. D'Amico created a design and posted it on Facebook, posted it on Instagram, and we never even went to the news media or anything looking for volunteers. And as I said, we got over 200 people that signed up. So on our team, we have several people in different areas that's doing whatever their role is. So we started meeting this year,
February.
this year, February. So, and basically since February, we've been having monthly meetings, making sure that everything is on track. We have a full project plan of when things need to be in place. So as I said, every month we meet, we go through that plan to make sure that everything is where it should be. If it's not, why not? What do we need to do to get it on track? So we're pretty much following that plan. And I have to say, I'm pleased to say that we are way ahead than we were in 2012. So I keep on saying to the team, let's just keep staying ahead.
Ahead of the pace.
We're right ahead of the game right now, and we're trying to continue staying ahead. I mean, the major things that we have, the major thing that we have, of course, is sponsorship. So I bought on Brenton Roberts, and he's basically going out there and seeking sponsors for him. So I'm very, very grateful because between me and myself, we were doing it at first, but we have full-time jobs. We also have other areas of Carifta that we really need to focus on. So he's taking that on and run with it, and so far doing a fantastic job.
And he knows a lot about sports.
He knows a lot about sports, and he also knows a lot of people.
Yeah.
So that's where, he's really getting some bang for his buck because of the people that he knows and favors that he can pull out and so on and so forth. So I just let him run with it, and I'm pleased
and
with that.
And he also has the benefit of time because I think it's important to make contact with people face to face so they can feel your passion, understand what it is you're trying to do. And I think because he has the ability to meet with a lot of people face to face, because we do all have full-time jobs, we rely on sending emails and asking, we can meet if you would like, because we don't have a lot of time, lunch breaks, weekends, evenings, but it doesn't really reach the base of people that we would like.
Yeah.
So he's a major help.
Exactly. And then with all other meetings that we have, like we're meeting with the press, or we're meeting with, once sponsors come on board, sometimes we have to meet with them. I mean, one good thing, we have a lot of in-kind sponsors. And I mean, that is fantastic. I mean, people that are going to supply us with, plants for the stadium, companies that are supplying us with the water, companies that are supplying us with, with the power aid. I mean, we have so many in-kind sponsors, that have jumped on board. Some of them have approached us and said, I want to be interested. And one thing that we are doing with Carifta this year is we want to use as many Bermudians as possible. So even in regards to our uniforms for our athletes, we're looking at possibly using, a Bermudian entrepreneur that creates uniforms. From the T-shirts, we're working with this young company that's just starting out to assist us with T-shirts for the team, T-shirts for our volunteers. So our goal right now is to use as many young Bermudians as possible, which is one of the reasons also we have D'Amico on board, to get their product out there so that Bermuda could see that we have a lot of talented youth, and to pull an event together like this and give each person a piece of the pie, which is, again, our slogan, we move together. So we're not just moving together from an athletic standpoint, but we're moving together from a Bermuda standpoint and getting as many people involved. One other thing that we're even looking at is, you have a lot of entrepreneurs that sell, different things. They make bags, or they make, African wear, or they make, all different things. So we're even looking at having them at these stadiums selling some of their stuff, because we're going to have so many international people that are going to be in Bermuda that, are looking to buy something that's made in Bermuda.
That way they can get their Carifta swag.
Exactly, exactly. So, this for us, this Carifta is all about Bermuda. It's really all about selling Bermuda. It's all about selling our young people. And so far, I think we're lean. I mean, we've just kind of proved the design of our podium, which of course we'll have an unveiling of that once we have that finished. And we're looking at using, a Bermudian to create the podium. D'Amico has designed it, and now we're looking for someone to create it. Even when it comes to, we have to give a trophy to the athlete that wins the Austin Sealy Award. We're looking at going to one of the Bermuda companies, what was it, Glassworks, or one of those companies, for them to design a trophy for us. So, we also are having a baton relay. So the baton relay is going to take place on Friday before the opening ceremony. So D'Amico has designed the baton, which is quite interesting, and we're going to go to a Bermudian to get them to create it. And we're looking at it being a cedar baton.
Right.
So everything that we're doing for this Carifta is Bermudian.
A lot of people may have forgotten or don't know, but the first Austin Sealy Award was won by a Bermudian.
Exactly, exactly,
Yes.
exactly.
Miss
Miss
Debbie
Debbie
James
James Hunter,
Yeah.
exactly. So every year, an athlete is chosen. So we want to make sure that the trophy that we give to them is Bermudian and made in Bermuda. So as I said, our whole theme about this is Bermuda, Bermuda, Bermuda.
I guess I've alluded to 2004, 2012. How is hosting those events help prepare you for next year's one?
But to be honest with you, because, my professional role is project management. So basically what I did, I already had the project plan from 2012. So I pretty much pulled out the project plan from 2012, enhanced it some, and so we're pretty much using that same template. Also, when it comes to, say for example, transportation, we had a plan in place for transportation. Because the schedule of the events are going to be pretty much the same, we're able to take that plan, change it a little bit as we need to, and use that. Even our technical manual, we had our technical manual from 2012, so we've been able to pull that out, and all we've got to do is just make amendments, update it. So
Not reinventing the wheel.
not reinventing the wheel. So that's kind of made things a little bit easier for us, because we did it in 2012, which wasn't that long ago, and we have a template in place. So and I think that's the reason we've been able to up it also, because like I said, we have the base, so let's take it up another level.
You were talking about people at the games being able to Bermudians to be able to sell their merchandise there. What kind of vendors do you think you're looking to have? Are we going to have like various food vendors as well?
We're definitely going to have food vendors. That is controlled by National Sports Center. So D'Amico and Craig created
RFP.
Yeah, they created an RFP, and they also created an ad that's been put out. So Craig is handling the food vendors, and we had a discussion last night. He's also going to handle the other vendors as well.
Vendors.
So yeah, all the market vendors. So so basically that has gone out. As he said to us, they've had several responses. Same in 2012, we had food vendors all around the stadium. And we've got to remember, you've got a lot of Jamaicans that's coming, so we're definitely going to have that sort of cuisine. There we also want to make sure that they taste some of Bermuda's cuisine. So Craig Terrell is handling all of the vendor requests. So if anyone is interested, they can contact Craig at National Sports Center.
And they have until this Friday.
To
get their
submission.
Because the 29th is the closing for the vendor RFP.
Exactly.
Yeah, so it's a good thing that I had you on there.
Exactly.
So if you're watching this and you're like, I'd like to serve some
Or if you know anybody whose food you appreciate, and you want them to put forth their names, then they can
Contact
do
them
so
and tell
as well.
And if they need the RFP, they could just contact Craig at the stadium, and he can forward them the information. But he has it. I know he even had it he had it advertised a few places, and again, we had it Facebook.
If you go on our Facebook or Instagram account, you
It's
can also
there.
find the food vendor advertisement as well. Yeah,
Exactly.
You've mentioned a couple times, and I just keep thinking like moving 600 athletes who's the person in charge of transportation?
Mr. Raymond Reyna is
Okay.
our transportation manager.
Because that seems like a very difficult job in the sense you got to make sure people are there on time, or well, not on time, early.
Exactly.
And so they can warm up and moving 600 athletes back and forth.
Exactly. The one thing that which Mia mentioned, which will make it much easier, is everyone's in one hotel.
Mm-hmm.
We even have the presidents, all the VIPs, everyone is staying at Southampton Princess. So that's one area that makes it much easier because the transportation is only going between Southampton Princess and National Sports Center.
Point A to point B.
Point A to point B. Also, as I said before, because we are using pretty much the same schedule as we had in 2012 of the event schedule, we already have like the time, and even though now we've got to extend it a bit because in 2012 the athlete village was Hamilton Princess, whereas this time it's Southampton. So all we've got to do now is add on a little bit more time to be able to get them from Southampton Princess to National Sports Center. But we have the template. We now just have to fiddle with it. One of our major issues, as I'm sure you would know and the public would know, is our transportation system is not what it should be. When I talk about that, I'm talking about the buses. So, I mean, we have met with the transportation department. So at this point in time, they're going to help us moving the athletes from the airport to National Sports Center. We've also brought on board several of the mini buses. So we're going to work with them. They'll probably assist us in moving the athletes from the stadium to the track.
In smaller groups.
In smaller groups, right.
Because the stadium is a track.
What did I say?
It said stadium to the track.
The hotel to the track, which will be much easier because if you think about it, like in the morning, as you know, we have a morning session, or you may not know, we have a morning session and an afternoon session. The morning session is free to the public so that everyone knows anyone could come to the morning session, and those are usually just the heats and the semifinals. All of the finals are in the evening. So if you think about it, yes, field event finals are in the morning. So if you think about it, there will be, say, about 6 events in the morning. So those are the only athletes that we have to move to the stadium because all the other athletes will stay at the hotel. So we would only probably need mini buses to get these athletes to and from the stadium. So as you said, it is very complicated, but because we have them all at one hotel, it makes it much easier. And also because we have the template from 2012, we've just got to go in and make adjustments because in 2012 transportation ran smoothly. We had no hiccups, no problems at all. And for a country, any country to say that you have a successful games is 3 things that really 4 things that the associations look at. Your accommodations are great, your transportation is great, your food is great, and the event is well run. So if you get those 4 things right, you got a tick.
Mia, you have to go?
I do.
Okay. Well, I thank you for being here.
Thank you for having us.
You all have to go?
No, we don't have to.
Okay, all right. So anything you want to say before?
No, I just want to encourage everybody to come out and support Carifta. Carifta is a program that supports athletes, not just physically, but academically as well, because a lot of international college coaches come. They make Carifta a part of their schedule to come and recruit athletes to offer them athletic scholarships to university. And this past Carifta, there were approximately 40 university coaches, and they come to offer funds to these athletes to give them an opportunity to pursue their tertiary education. And I think so it's beyond just supporting some kids running on a track. It goes to the return on investment is far greater than you can imagine when you think about the opportunities that athletes have. And since the 1970s, athletes from Bermuda have been receiving scholarships to go to university. And I think that's something that people should keep in the back of their mind when they decide to support Carifta. I'm not just supporting this child winning this one race. I'm supporting this child winning for the future.
Right. Winning for life.
Winning for life.
Winning for life.
Get their college education and,
Exactly.
and be able to have a career.
Exactly.
Well, Mia, thank you very much.
Thank you so much for having us.
Okay, all right. So I'll just continue with Donna and D'Amico. We've been leading up with all the pre-stuff that's happening, but people go to see the athletes. And last Carifta Games, we had several gold medals. If I look at my list here, we had Isabel, Caitlin, the girls 4x100, Nairobi, and Nathan.
Yep.
Who can we look to for this next games? Keep an eye on.
I think the athletes that you've just named, Caitlin, again in the 2-4, possibly 800. We haven't decided whether she's going to do the 2 and 4, the 4 and 8. She will definitely be here.
Nathan's been having awesome
She will be moving up to the under 20. Most of these.
Yeah, I was going to think they were all
yes,
aging up.
They moved to under 20. You've got Nathan Armstrong, who's running really well. Terrence keeps us up to date on how he's doing in cross country right now, and he's running very, very well. Isabel, her mom, sends us information on a regular basis of how she's doing as well. Isabel's running well.
Where's she training at?
Isabel is in, I can't even remember. She's in university. She's in her first year. I can't even remember. I can't remember none of these athletes. So much. So we'll definitely be looking at Isabel once again in the 3,000. We have several of our young athletes that are coming up that we will be looking out for. Women's relay team. The good thing about that is 2 of the members, other than Caitlin, have gone to school in the States. One has gone to IMG Academy, and her mom said, they're training hard. She's really looking good. So, I'm really looking again for that women's relay team. And of course, with them being out there in school, even their individual events. And these ladies are still in the under 17 division. So, that's a plus. Right now we have several athletes on the horizon that we're going to be definitely looking out for. In 2012, I think we had a team of like about 70 athletes. This year, the team probably won't be that big because I'm looking at quality. I don't want just to have, because it's in Bermuda, we have this big number of athletes. My goal is that we have a quality team. We're going to have more than 20, of course. But I just want to make sure that these athletes are well prepared. And what we're looking at this year is sending them to about 4 overseas events. Partly, as we know, the track will be closed until February as they resurface. So we've got to figure out a way to keep our athletes sharp and to make sure that they're well prepared. So what we're looking at is a few meets overseas, a few indoor meets, and then also we're taking some athletes to Barbados. They're having a championships, and they've invited our team, so we're taking some athletes there as well. So our goal this year is to, really make sure that our athletes are prepared. It's too bad Mia's gone because we also did some system-based testing in September. We brought a young lady down who did some testing on our athletes. We've gotten the results back, and basically system testing lets you know, if you've got a middle distance runner, for example, they need to do more mileage, or they need to cut back on the mileage. So this system-based testing basically gives you an idea of what is the best type of training needed for this athlete, to get the utmost out of them. So we're really looking forward to, our athletes shining. We're going to make sure that Carifta is one of the greatest Cariftas ever, but we also want to make sure that Bermuda's proud of our athletes, and we have athletes on that podium.
Now, compared to back in the 80s and 70s, when some of us used to run, the science wasn't as it is now. How has that shaped developing our athletes?
I guess I find it very interesting because, as you know, I ran track when I was, back in the day. And, we didn't have all that science. And if we look at the times that we were running, if you look at Debbie Jones Hunter's time, no one's broken her record yet. She still holds the Bermuda national record. So you wonder, with all this science and, all of this research and so on, has it really made the athletes that much better? So I don't even know how I could answer that question, because I wonder sometimes, I look at the athletes running, I'm like, geez, we were running those times back in the 70s. And we didn't do all this system testing and all of this other stuff that they do. So I don't know. I just think it's all about hard work. I just think you've got to be committed and you've got to put in the work. No matter what testing you do, whatever you do, it's still all about you being committed and you putting in that hard work. Nothing beats hard work.
I think you mentioned Debbie, and we mentioned her a couple of times. But I think it'd be a little remiss on me if we didn't give a shout out to Sonia Smith.
Yeah, definitely. Still holds the Carifta record. Definitely.
In the javelin.
Exactly. And I'm glad you said it, because if I pass Sonia on the street, she'll pull me over. And she said, you never mentioned me in your interview. So definitely Sonia Smith. She's, as you said, she still holds the record.
Yeah, and she holds the oldest record in Carifta.
The oldest record in Carifta. She does. She holds that record, and Debbie holds the record of having the most medals, in the Carifta game. So, Bermuda, as we always say, we punch above our weight. We're a small country, but, look at Nikki Saunders still holding the Commonwealth record. Brian Wellman, who was a world indoor record holder. So, Tyrone Smith, who's won gold medals at CACs and so on and so forth. So, you look across the board, we definitely punch above our weight, compared to other countries.
And while we're just throwing out some names, the other Carifta record we still hold, Renika Bean.
Renika, exactly. Renika, that was, we talked about that, I think the other day, because it's Renika's story was interesting. When she broke the record, there were some doubts that this record was a valid record and so on and so forth. And it's funny how at first, and I didn't have anything to do with the board or whatever, but it was funny and interesting at first how Bermuda was doubting what she did, whereas all of the other countries were hailing it. And every Carifta you went to, they say the record is held by Renika Bean. And so when I came on board, because the record was not on our record books, and I said we will be putting that record. So that was one of the first things I did, is we have that record now in our record books, because for whatever reason, I don't even know, can't even remember who the administration was at that time, that they refused to recognize her record because there's no way she ran that fast. How can you doubt that? Were you there? So her record is now sitting on our books. But you think about it. Some people, it's just their day. It's just, she had a fantastic race. And if you look at her heats, all of the rounds, she was running the same time. So it wasn't like all of a sudden she ran this spectacular time. The girl she was talented. She was talented. So we have to give our athletes our due. And I just find it weird or strange that we doubt our athletes' performances when everybody else around the world is saying, that was fantastic, that was great.
I know we mentioned the athletes that won the medals last year. Anybody else you feel like could step up to the podium this year? Next year?
I've seen a few. I don't want to put pressure on them, but I've been watching some of the athletes in cross country, and I've got my eye on a few. And I think if they continue to put in the work, they're going to reap the rewards. As I said, nothing beats hard work. And when you see an athlete, putting in that work, and you sit back and you watch him, you say, he's looking really good. So there are a few. There are definitely a few that I think we're going to get on the podium.
Yeah, I know we're sort of known for middle distance runners. In that category, possibly?
Definitely in that category.
Okay.
I'm
not mentioning names.
Yeah, no, I'm not mentioning names. So definitely in the middle distance. And I think every Carifta, for whatever reason, we always come out with medals in the middle distance area. That just seems to be between that and jumps. We always come up with a long jumper, high jumper. We've had Janai, we've had Sakari. We always come up with a jumper, and we always come up with a middle distance runner. We had the Alexis's, we had Taylor, we had Ashley Berry, Aaron, we had Matthew Springs. We had so many middle distance runners. And coming back to our day, myself, Mike Watson, Gina Evans, we've always been able to, Terrence Armstrong, we've always been able to come out with medals. Kevin Smith, we could just keep going on and naming middle distance athletes that's medaled at Carifta Games. My hope is that we get back in the sprinting arena. We've been, I think the last athlete that we had that really stood out was Janico Place. And I just really felt that he could have been so far, in the sport. And I think that was the last real sprinter that we had that, was amongst the medals. So that's the area that I would like to see us get back to, is sprinting. Last year was fantastic when there's young ladies got a bronze medal in that relay. We hadn't got a relay medal in the women, definitely in the 4x1 in years. So that was just fantastic, seeing those young ladies medal in the 4x1.
Well, if you go back to the 70s, Bermuda was sort of known for the sprinters. Mike Sharp, Cal Dill, Candy Ford,
Debbie, exactly.
Yeah. And I've forgotten like 5 or 6.
Exactly. we had a ton of sprinters back in the day.
Yeah.
So I would definitely like to see us to get back, because then that would supplement our medals. And I know we also, even right now, we have some throwers. Terry and Painter's working with quite a few throwers. And she sees some possibilities there as well, because like you said, we had the Besses, we had Terry Lynn, we had Sonia Smith, we had Brittany Marshall. So we had our throwers as well. So talking to Terry, she says, we're coming there. And then we had Tiara, who's now in university and doing well. So it will be really nice to see, us to develop a all-around program where it's not just middle distance, where we got the sprinters, we got the throwers, everybody's contributing to the medal tally.
And again, some people probably have forgotten that Bermuda has actually been the overall winner of Carifta once.
Yes, we did.
When we hosted in 75.
I was on that team, Dawn. I was on that team. Yeah, we're probably the only country
Other than Jamaica.
that's ever beaten Jamaica in Carifta Games. So we have that we have to remember. And I think a lot of people forget that in 1975 we won Carifta Games. We were ahead of Jamaica, and there's not been any other country that's ever beaten Jamaica at Carifta.
Yeah. You mentioned Jamaica, and of course, a lot of people are excited because they want to see the Jamaican athletes come. Because without a doubt, world class, Olympic class. The next great Jamaicans
coming out.
Will be here on our track.
On our track, exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
But funny enough, there's also in Bahamas. You had Eric Gardner this year, who won the 400 meters of World Championships. Sean Miller. I think there's other countries now that, on at least the international stage, I think are producing just as much. So I think while Jamaica is going to be the big country, I think other countries watch out for their superstars as well, because as you saw Kishon in 2012, he was from Trinidad. He shocked everyone and broke the record in the javelin, and then no one would have believed he would have been on to have won the Olympic gold in the same year you've won Carifta. That's somewhat insane. Carifta is a junior meet, meant to be somewhat developmental while at a very high level, but so win an Olympic gold that same year, that's amazing.
And it's sort of, Usain Bolt. That's our legend.
That's our legend. That's right. Broke the world junior record in 2004. Exactly.
Well, we've almost gone an hour here. It's gone by pretty fast. Any last words, D'Amico? You can go first.
I would say the first thing, I'm harking off of what you two said earlier. If anyone wants to look at any of Bermuda's kind of former history and results, you can actually go to our website. We have a section called Bermuda Honor Roll. That's a great area where you can look at all the old results. You can see all of our old record holders. So that's great. And then basically from my end, from marketing, I would say look out starting January. We're going to have the buses decorated. We're going to have banners all over the city. I think we're going to try and really make this a festive atmosphere and a festive game. So I'm excited to see what comes of it.
I really like the records. Donna, you probably remember, when I was at the Sun, I had it. I had the Carifta Honor Roll.
Yes, you did.
All the records.
And that's where we got most of it.
Yep, that's
where when we started it, I said, we've got to
take that and
from
update
the
it.
Sun and update it.
Yep.
Yeah, because I felt like it was important for us to remember our history.
Yeah.
If you don't go back and you see, because a lot of people won medals.
Exactly.
A lot of people.
Yeah,
Exactly.
So, I mean, I would encourage people to go to the website.
Yeah, and look at it.
And look
Yeah.
at it and say, oh. And you might see somebody now that you're friends with that
That you
didn't realize
know.
it was a
They
Carifta medal.
competed in Carifta. That's
Yes.
right. That's right. Well, I guess what I would like to finish with is, first of all, I'd like to thank the media. So far, every event that we've had, which is promoting Carifta, the media has come on board and assisted. I don't think we've had any event yet where, like when we unveiled the medals, we had the media there. So the media also is assisting us in getting the word out to the public. I'd also like the public to think about what Mia said when it comes to, I would like to support Carifta, or I would not like to support Carifta. That is not just about the event. It's about helping our young Bermudians who possibly would never have the chance or opportunity of going to university. And I can name several of our athletes that are in university today that if it wasn't for athletics, they would not probably be.
Including yourself.
Including myself. We probably would not have been able to attend university. And then when you look at the athletes that have gone to university from track and field, and I'm only saying track and field because this is my sport, where they are in the community today, what they've given back to the community. And every one of them, I'm sure, can say to you, I started from the Carifta Games. So Carifta has a history, not just from an athletic standpoint, but from an educational standpoint, and also what we've given back to the community. So, as I said, if you're thinking about supporting Carifta, please do, because it's not just about the sport. I will tell you, we will be putting on a first-class event. As you see from our marketing, everything that we've done so far has been first class, and it will continue to be first class. And, we want Bermuda to be proud of this event. We want Bermuda to come out. As I said, the tickets are selling. I don't want to come to Carifta and see all the Jamaica flags or the Bahamas flags, and we're like little dots. We see a Bermuda flag. And so my thing is, do not wait to purchase your tickets. And I'm not doing this from a marketing standpoint. I'm doing it more from a point, you need to come out and support our Bermuda athletes, and don't let Jamaica outdo us, or Bahamas outdo us, or Trinidad, because they've already purchased their tickets. We get calls from them on a daily basis. They're looking for accommodations. So we even have people from the U.S. that are calling us now to say, I've heard about this. I want to come. One person asked me, oh, can my son compete in Carifta? And I said, well, no, not if it's from the U.S. They said, well, you know what? This event sounds so great, and I've heard so much about it, I'm just going to bring my son to see. And with it being over the Easter weekend, people are, on vacation anyway. So Bermuda, please come out and, support these athletes. As I said, we're preparing them. I can assure you there will be athletes on the podium for you to wave your Bermuda flag to, and, so on and so forth. So again, don't be our usual Bermudians and wait to the last minute and think we're going to get tickets, because those tickets are going to be gone.
I know people should plan and prepare ahead of time, but and we talked about vendors earlier, but will there be somebody selling Bermuda paraphernalia there, flags or anything at the stadium? I mean, I think it'd be a great thing. If you forgot something, you can go buy a Bermuda flag.
Right.
And then you're,
One thing that we're doing, which will be probably slightly different, is we will be selling T-shirts, and we'll probably start selling those T-shirts January, February. But what we're looking at is, as you know, our colors are, the pink, the blue, and then we've got the purple in there, which is kind of unity. So pretty soon they will hear Carifta Day 1 is going to be Blue Day. Carifta Day 2 is going to be Pink Day. Carifta Day 3 is going to be Purple Day. So we'll be selling the shirts, and we'll also be letting everyone know what color do you wear today. It might be a blue shirt, as you know, the Bermuda shirts that everyone is. It might be blue with the pink trimming, or the second day might be a pink shirt with the blue trimming, and then the last day may be a purple shirt with the pink and blue on it. So, we're trying to really make this, as I said, a real Bermudian event and get everyone involved in it. So when we look up on the stands and we see everybody in pink, we know they paid attention, because today is Pink Day.
Right.
So we will be selling those shirts as well, because as I said, we want to get everyone involved. As I said, this is we move together. This is a Bermuda community event, and that's what we're going for, to make this all about Bermuda. You know, let's showcase our Bermuda talent. Let's showcase, you know, we've got entrepreneurs out there making soap. You know, we have people out there making tea. You know, let's celebrate them and let's bring them all to be part of this Carifta Games.
It's one of the most exciting events I'm looking forward to
Thanks.
next year.
I'm glad you are.
From both the fans' perspective and from covering it. It'll be one of the big things.
Yes.
I just want to thank Donna Rayner and D'Amica Watson, and Mia Bean was with us earlier to talk to us about Carifta 2020 and a little bit about track and field and the Olympics as well. We're here at the lovely House Bermuda, and for Burn News, I just want to say thank you for tuning in, and hopefully you've learned a little bit. I've learned a little bit. And as always, have a beautiful day.